I moved on after our divorce, but 7 years later, her words brought the past crashing back. Stick with me while I share my story, and if it touches you, don't forget to support our channel by hitting that subscribe button, dropping a like, and sharing it with the people you care about. My name is Cole, and I never thought I'd hear from Jessa again, until that rainy Monday changed everything. 7 years ago, Jessa and I were married. At first, everything seemed perfect. But slowly, I started noticing small lies, secrets she kept, and whispers of betrayal. One day, I found proof she had been hiding something huge, something that broke my trust completely. I couldn't stay, and I left, heartbroken but determined to rebuild my life. Over the years, I focused on myself. I opened a small real estate business, and I met Mara, who became my partner and my safe place. Life was finally calm, predictable, and happy. I had almost forgotten the pain Jessa caused. Almost. Then came the phone call. Her voice was calm, too calm, and she hinted at a secret she never shared. She spoke like she wanted me to react, to feel the old anger and hurt all over again. I tried to ignore it, but something in her tone made my blood run cold. I agreed to meet her at a cafe, the same one we used to visit. Seeing her again brought back memories I had tried to bury, laughter, arguments, and finally, betrayal. She smirked while I listened, realizing her plan had always been about revenge, not love. I left that day knowing I had to take control of the story of my life. I didn't want to hurt her publicly, but I made sure the truth came out. People saw who she really was, and she could no longer hide behind lies. After that, I finally felt free. The anger faded, replaced with strength. I learned that moving on doesn't mean forgetting. It means reclaiming your life, no matter how long it takes. Cole's phone rang late in the evening, the kind of call that makes your stomach drop before you even answer. Seeing Jessa's name on the screen made his chest tighten. He hadn't expected her voice again, not after all these years. When he picked up, she sounded calm, almost too calm. "Cole," she said softly, "I've been holding something from you, something you need to know." Her words were deliberate, slow, and carefully measured, like she wanted to sting him right from the start. Cole felt anger rise immediately. Memories of the past he had worked so hard to leave behind came rushing back. The nights he cried alone, the fights that tore their home apart, the shock of discovering her betrayal, all of it crashed over him in an instant. "What are you talking about?" he asked, trying to steady his voice. But he already knew. He could feel the weight of her secret pressing down like it had 7 years ago. She chuckled softly. "You thought everything ended when you walked away. But some truths can't stay hidden forever." Her tone was almost teasing, like she was enjoying watching him struggle with the emotions he thought he had buried. Cole's hands tightened around the phone. He could feel the old fire, rage, hurt, and disbelief, burning inside him. How dare she reach out after all this time, knowing exactly what she was stirring? "Why now?" he asked, barely containing his fury. "Because it's time you knew the real story," she replied. That one line cut deeper than anything else she had ever said. It promised revelation, revenge, and pain, and Cole realized that his past wasn't finished with him yet. For the rest of the night, he couldn't sleep. Every corner of his mind replayed their old life, their fights, and her lies. The past he thought he had left behind was alive again, demanding attention. Cole knew one thing: he couldn't ignore her. Whatever she was planning, he needed to face it, head on, no matter how much it hurt. 7 years earlier, Cole's world had turned upside down. He had trusted Jessa with everything, his dreams, his heart, even his plans for the future. They had built a life together, or at least he thought they had. Then one evening, everything came crashing down. Cole discovered a truth he could never unsee. Jessa had been keeping a secret, something huge that shook the foundation of their marriage. It wasn't just a lie, it was a betrayal so deep that it made him question every moment they had shared. He remembered the look on her face when he confronted her. Calm, almost detached, as if she had expected him to find out one day. But what hurt the most wasn't the secret itself, it was the years of trust she had broken without a single word. Cole felt like he had been living in a dream that suddenly turned into a nightmare. Every smile, every promise, every "I love you" now seemed false. The betrayal wasn't just about the secret, it was about the life he thought they had built together. He had tried to reason with her, tried to forgive, tried to make sense of it all. But the damage was too deep. The foundation of their marriage had cracked, and nothing could hold it together. In the end, he walked away. Leaving wasn't easy. Cole felt a mix of anger, sadness, and disbelief as he closed the door on the life he had imagined. The city streets outside felt colder that night, emptier, as if they were reflecting the emptiness he carried inside. Even after all these years, the memory lingered. The shock, the heartbreak, the sense of being deceived, it had shaped him, made him cautious, made him guarded. And now, hearing from Jessa again, Cole realized that some wounds never fully heal. The past had a way of creeping back, reminding him of what he had lost, what he had endured, and what he could never forget. After the divorce, Cole focused on himself like never before. He poured his energy into a small real estate business, working long days and late nights to build something he could be proud of. Slowly, his hard work paid off. The business grew, and with it, his sense of purpose. Life had started to feel steady again. He enjoyed quiet mornings with coffee in hand, driving through neighborhoods he had helped shape, and seeing the tangible results of his effort. There was a calm satisfaction in knowing he was building something that belonged to him alone. Then there was Mara. She was different from anyone he had known before, patient, thoughtful, and genuinely kind. She didn't pry into the wounds of his past but accepted him as he was, scars and all. With her, life felt lighter, happier, like he could finally breathe again. For the first time in years, Cole allowed himself to imagine a future without pain, without the weight of betrayal hanging over him. He had friends he could trust, a career he loved, and a partner who truly cared for him. It was stability he had longed for, the kind that felt impossible after heartbreak. But the unexpected call from Jessa shattered that quiet. Her voice, calm and deliberate, brought back memories he had tried to leave behind. Suddenly, the foundation he had built began to tremble. Thoughts he had buried started to surface, the anger, the doubt, the questions he thought were long gone. Cole realized that the past was not done with him yet. No matter how far he had come, one phone call could threaten everything he had fought so hard to achieve. The stability he cherished now seemed fragile, like a house built on sand, ready to crumble at any moment. And in that moment, Cole understood that moving forward didn't mean escaping the past. It meant facing it, even when he had finally found peace. He had to decide whether to protect the life he had built or confront the storm Jessa had returned to stir. Jessa didn't give details right away. Her words were carefully chosen, almost teasing, leaving Cole with more questions than answers. She hinted at a secret buried years ago, something he believed had been resolved and forgotten. "What do you mean?" Cole asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Inside, a storm of emotions churned, fear, suspicion, and a creeping sense of dread. He had thought the past was behind him, that he had closed every door, yet here she was, reopening everything. She laughed softly, a sound that once used to comfort him but now sent shivers down his spine. "You've been blind, Cole. The truth isn't what you think. Some people you trusted weren't loyal to you at all." Cole's heart sank. Who could she mean? He had rebuilt his life carefully, trusting only a few. The idea that someone close to him had betrayed him in ways he didn't know was almost unbearable. Jessa's voice held a strange satisfaction, as if she enjoyed watching him wrestle with uncertainty. She mentioned money, things hidden in plain sight, decisions made behind his back, and alliances he had never suspected. Each word cut deeper than the last, poking at wounds he had tried to heal. Cole felt a surge of anger, burning hot in his chest. How could she keep something like this from him all these years? And why now? He wanted answers, but more than that, he wanted justice. His mind raced, replaying old events, conversations, and decisions. Could someone he trusted have lied to him for years? Could the foundation of his new life be threatened by a betrayal he had no idea existed? He knew one thing for certain, he couldn't ignore this. The curiosity gnawed at him, mixing with rage, forcing him to confront a truth he had never imagined. Whatever Jessa had uncovered, or whatever she was willing to reveal, it would change everything. Cole realized he was no longer the same man who walked away 7 years ago. This time, he would face the hidden betrayal head-on, and he would make sure no. Cole pushed open the door to the cafe, the scent of coffee and old pastries hitting him like a wave of nostalgia. The place hadn't changed much, worn wooden tables, soft lighting, and the quiet hum of conversations in the background. It was neutral ground, but memories of better times made the air feel heavier. Jessa was already there, sitting at a corner table. She smiled as he approached, but it wasn't the warm smile he remembered. There was something cold and calculated behind it, a calmness that didn't reach her eyes. Cole's stomach tightened. "Cole," she said, patting the empty chair across from her. "I'm glad you came." He sat, keeping his expression neutral, though his hands clenched into fists on the table. The tension between them was thick, almost tangible, like a storm ready to break. "I didn't call to just chat," Jessa began, her voice smooth. "I wanted you to know why things happened the way they did. You see, it wasn't just about us, it was bigger than that." Cole frowned, feeling unease curl in his chest. Her words were precise, careful, almost rehearsed. He realized then that this wasn't a conversation about reconciliation, it was a performance, a trap designed to unsettle him. As she spoke, fragments of the past returned in sharp detail, the subtle manipulations, the choices she had made behind his back, the small humiliations he had shrugged off at the time. And suddenly, it clicked, her betrayal hadn't been a simple act of selfishness. It was deliberate, a calculated revenge for something trivial, something he barely remembered. Cole's pulse quickened. He had underestimated her, thought her capable of only petty deception, but this was intentional. She had spent years plotting, and now, with calm precision, she revealed the depth of her schemes. For the first time in years, Cole felt true clarity. The anger, the hurt, the disbelief, they all mixed into a cold resolve. Whatever she had planned, he would not be caught off guard again. He would face this head-on, with control and strategy, not emotion. The cafe, filled with memories and quiet murmurs, became the stage for a reckoning Cole had long anticipated. Cole left the cafe feeling hollow, yet his mind raced uncontrollably. Jessa's words had unearthed feelings he thought were long buried. Anger and disbelief tangled with sorrow, twisting inside him like a storm that refused to pass. He remembered the nights after their divorce, when the apartment felt unbearably quiet. He had cried alone, gripping the sheets, wondering how someone he loved could betray him so completely. Those moments had left scars that weren't visible but never faded. He recalled questioning his judgment repeatedly. Had he missed the signs? Had he been blind to the subtle manipulations that now seemed obvious in hindsight? The memory stung sharply, forcing him to relive the helplessness he had once felt. Cole also thought about the life he had nearly lost, years spent rebuilding, dreams postponed, opportunities avoided because he had trusted the wrong person. Every choice he made after the divorce had been shaped by that betrayal, and even now, it haunted him. Yet beneath the hurt, a different feeling began to rise, a determination he hadn't felt in years. He couldn't erase the past, but he could choose how it affected him. He could let it consume him, or he could confront it, learn from it, and reclaim control of his life. His chest tightened with the weight of conflicting emotions. The desire to forgive battled with the need for justice. He wanted to move forward, but he also wanted to make sure that Jessa, or anyone like her, couldn't hurt him again. Cole realized that this reckoning wasn't about revenge alone, it was about understanding, closure, and strength. He needed to face the full truth of what had happened, accept the pain it brought, and transform it into clarity. By the time night fell, he felt a cold sense of resolution. The storm inside him hadn't vanished, but it had shifted. Hurt and anger remained, but they now fueled his determination rather than paralyzing him. Cole was ready to take the next step, whatever it took, to ensure his life would no longer be defined by betrayal. Cole spent the following days in quiet focus. He didn't rush or act impulsively. This time, he refused to be caught off guard. Every thought, every decision, was deliberate. He knew that patience and strategy would matter more than anger or impulse. He mapped out what he wanted, not to humiliate Jessa publicly, but to show her, and anyone who mattered, who she really was. He wanted the truth to be undeniable, leaving no room for excuses or lies. It was about reclaiming the story of his life, and restoring the dignity that had been stolen from him. Cole started by retracing past interactions, piecing together moments that now seemed suspicious. He reviewed documents, conversations, and subtle signs he had once dismissed. Each detail helped him understand how deeply Jessa had manipulated situations and who had unknowingly played a part in it. He considered timing carefully. Every action would need to have impact without backfiring. Subtlety was his ally. He drafted notes, planned meetings, and envisioned how events could unfold to reveal her true character in the cleanest way possible. While he worked, Cole felt a sense of control returning. The helplessness that had dominated his past was replaced with calculated purpose. For the first time in years, he felt like he could direct the course of events instead of being swept along by someone else's schemes. He imagined the moment when Jessa would realize her carefully constructed world had cracks she couldn't hide. The knowledge that her ego would take the hardest blow satisfied a part of him, but he reminded himself that this wasn't about revenge for revenge's sake. It was about fairness, closure, and truth. Cole knew he had to stay disciplined. Any misstep could ruin everything he had worked to rebuild. Each step was methodical, deliberate, and precise. The plan wasn't about anger, it was about reclaiming power and ensuring that betrayal could no longer define his life. For the first time, Cole felt calm in his fury. He was ready to act when the time came, confident that the end result would finally restore balance. The day came when Cole put his plan into motion. Every step had been measured, every detail carefully considered. He wasn't acting out of spite, he was determined to reveal the truth in a way that was fair, undeniable, and precise. Cole reached out to people who had trusted Jessa over the years. He shared evidence and stories that clearly showed her manipulations and deceptions. The moments he highlighted were impossible to dismiss: small lies, secret schemes, and betrayals that had been hidden beneath a charming facade. He watched quietly as the truth slowly sank in. Those who had respected her began to question everything they thought they knew. Friends, colleagues, and even casual acquaintances began to see cracks in her carefully maintained image. Jessa, confident in her control, didn't notice the shift at first. But as whispers spread and conversations changed, she started to sense that the walls she had built were no longer solid. Her calm demeanor faltered, replaced by tension and disbelief. Cole stayed distant, letting the revelations speak for themselves. There were no dramatic confrontations, no public shaming, just the undeniable facts presented in a way that left no room for excuses. Her world, which had once seemed untouchable, began to crumble piece by piece. He saw her desperation when people she had manipulated confronted her with questions and doubts. For the first time, Jessa truly understood the impact of her actions, the pain she had caused, the trust she had destroyed, and the life she had disrupted. Cole felt a quiet satisfaction, not because he enjoyed her suffering, but because the truth finally had its place. Years of deception could no longer control his life or the lives of those around him. Justice had been served in a subtle but absolute way. By the end of it, Jessa was left to face the consequences of her choices. The power she once wielded was gone, replaced with the weight of accountability. Cole, on the other hand, finally felt a sense of relief and closure he hadn't thought possible. He had reclaimed control, proving that truth and careful action could outweigh lies and manipulation. After everything settled, Cole finally felt the weight lift from his shoulders. The storm of lies, betrayal, and manipulation had passed, leaving behind a clarity he hadn't experienced in years. For the first time, he could breathe without tension gripping his chest. He walked through his life with a renewed sense of purpose. The lessons from the past lingered, but they no longer controlled him. He understood now that betrayal could happen, but it didn't have to define his future. He had faced deception, survived the pain, and emerged stronger. Cole took time to reflect on the choices he had made, the patience he had exercised, and the restraint that had allowed him to act with precision. Revenge had not been about cruelty, it had been about truth and balance. That understanding gave him satisfaction deeper than any fleeting triumph could. Mara noticed the change in him too. He was calmer, more grounded, and yet more confident. Their relationship had grown beyond companionship, it had become a partnership built on honesty, trust, and mutual respect. Cole finally allowed himself to fully embrace the happiness he had earned. He also learned to be more cautious, to trust carefully, and to protect the life he had built. Experience had made him wiser. He knew that even the most charming appearances could hide darker intentions, and he was determined to ensure that no one could undermine his peace again. Most importantly, Cole felt free. Free from the shadow Jessa had cast over his life, free from lingering anger that had once consumed him, and free to move forward without fear. He could enjoy the small moments, the successes of his work, the warmth of friendships, and the love that Mara offered without hesitation. The past was no longer a chain but a guide, a reminder of resilience, strength, and the importance of self-respect. Cole understood that life could be unfair, but he could control his response. In the quiet evenings, as he looked out at the city he had helped shape and the life he had rebuilt, Cole felt at peace. He had reclaimed not only his dignity but his right to live fully, and nothing, not even betrayal, could take that away again. Do you think I made the right choice by standing up to her and reclaiming my life, or should I have forgiven her and given her another chance? I'd love to hear your thoughts, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe.